everyone, today we're here with Jessica Allossery. For those of you who have not yet had the pleasure of listening to Jessica's music, let me give you a little background. She is a travel-loving, extremely ambitious, self-taught, award-winning musician with a gentle soul. Jessica started sharing songs on YouTube in 2008, and within 2 years she released her first EP. Her song Change the World was used by Fuji Films' Telus Mobility and led to Jessica being featured in a 2015 Rolls-Royce commercial. In 2016, her song I'll Let You Go was picked up by Sirius XM Radio. She is nominated and won both Best New Artist Discovery and Best Song on the Coffee House channel, beating out among others the Lumineers, Lucas Graham, and Charlie Puth. In 2019, her tour was sponsored by Ford Motor Company. Jessica has toured extensively across North America, Brazil, and Germany. Jessica, thank you so much for being here and agreeing to do this interview with us. You're
Thank you,
definitely
Olive, for
a world
having
traveler.
me.
This has helped with your songwriting. And where was the last place you were able to travel before the COVID-19 lockdown?
So, yes, I definitely am a traveler. I love traveling, and it's been very difficult with COVID not being able to travel hardly at all. But I did get some travel in, and I'll explain a little bit more later. But um, so your first question was, do I think that all my travels have inspired me with my music? I would say absolutely, because traveling really changed my life. I started traveling very young. Specifically, when I was 17 years old, I traveled to Brazil on my own for a year and lived there. And that really opened my eyes and showed me different parts of the world and different parts of humanity that I hadn't seen before. And that really made me want to help others and make a change with my music. So traveling for sure has made an impact, a good impact on my songwriting and my inspirations. And the last place that I traveled to before COVID was actually South Africa. And I've been to South Africa 9 times. So usually I would go once a year, almost once a year I would go because I've got lots of friends there. And I've been traveling there since 2010. And my best friend, my Canadian best friend, and I said, you need to come with me. You need to come and see South Africa. So she came with me and we went in January. So it's already been a year now since our trip, and we went for 2 weeks, and it was just the most incredible trip because we got to go on safaris and see lions and elephants, and then we went through some of the mountains in Clarence in South Africa, and we just got to see a whole bunch of stuff. The beaches, there's so much to see in Cape Town. So that was an amazing trip, and I feel very grateful and thankful that I got one trip in before the world went to chaos. So I'm very thankful for that. And then as I was mentioning before, I have gotten some travel in during COVID. Specifically, I've moved from Canada to the States. So I moved to Baltimore for a few months to be with my boyfriend, and then we got married, and now we reside in Seattle. So I have had some travel, but it's been a relocation of sorts. So lots of new things happening over here as well.
Yeah. Okay, so what person or people in your life inspire you the most?
Um, I have a few people that I look up to for sure that inspire me. One person is Michael Knowlton, and Michael Knowlton is a family friend who I met back in 2014. He has a beautiful family. They have a little tree house up in Canada, in Ontario, and I recorded a song there called Love Parade, and it's a music video, and I've got a bunch of people behind me, and we've got balloons and we've got horns, and we're like frolicking through the meadows, and it's a beautiful video. And that was shot at their treehouse. So they own a treehouse that they rent out on Airbnb, and that's how I met them. And Michael Knowlton is actually a cancer survivor, and he has terminal cancer, but he has been living with his cancer for, I think, 12 years now. And he was only given maybe 4 or 5 years in the beginning, and he's just keeps surprising the doctors and the surgeons and the nurses every year that goes by, and he's just so strong. And every time I speak to him, I just feel so. I feel like there's so much good in the world, and we need to focus on the positive. And he's one person who always focuses on the positive and really is making a change one person at a time. So that's one person who really inspires me. And the next person I'll say that really inspires me is my friend Nate Maingard, who lives in South Africa. And actually, I visited him on my trip when I was there. He's a musician as well. And he's he's such a dear friend, very good friend. And he's a person who really accepts not just me as I am, but accepts everyone as they are. And he's there he's a big support for everybody. He has so many fans all over the world, and so many people look up to him, and me included. I think the work that he's doing with his music and getting back to nature, that's very important to him. He carves spoons, he does wilderness workshops, he does survival workshops and all those kinds of things. So he's always working to better himself, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. And we are kind of mentoring each other as singer-songwriters every week. So every Monday I get to talk to him. And every time I come off of the call, I just feel so refreshed and inspired and ready to tackle the day and be a better person. So he is the second person who really inspires me as well.
That's amazing. It sounds like you have a lot of people who are very inspiring and brave and strong, and that's
A
amazing,
lot,
just like you.
yes. Yes, I've got a lot
So,
of people around me. I feel very grateful to be surrounded by so many wonderful inspirations.
yes, that's very kind. So, what would you consider your biggest accomplishment to date?
Oh, there's so many, Olive. How can I choose? I feel so honored to be even to be able to be sitting here with you and sharing a little bit of my life story with you and your fellow classmates and whoever will be watching. But um, there's many accomplishments that I'm proud of. Oh man, what would my top accomplishment? That's a tough one. Uh, I would say one of my most proudest moments that I was so excited about was the Rolls-Royce commercial. That was because, they flew me to England and I got to perform Change the World, my song, in an airport. And they sectioned off an airport for me to be able to perform. And they had my music blasting on these speakers. And I had this makeup artist who was doing my hair and my makeup. And I had, this outfit. We got to go shopping for all these outfits for the video. And there's this big camera crew and everyone was looking. And I just felt like, wow, I feel like I've made it, as a musician, as a singer-songwriter. So that was a life pivoting moment for me. And the
Yeah,
second thing that really changed my life and really changed the way I feel about myself and my music and my work here on this earth was, you mentioned this earlier, but my title from Sirius XM Radio in 2016, when I won Best New Artist Discovery and Best Song on the Coffee House, because I was up against these huge names like the Lumineers and Charlie Puth and Ruth B, all people who have huge teams behind them and hundreds of thousands of fans, if not millions, all over the world. And then there's just me, and it's only me. I don't have a team. I don't have a manager. I don't have a booking agent. I'm doing this all on my own. And I won this title, this very prestigious title, and I just felt incredibly proud of that accomplishment as well. And that was a long time coming because I had been trying to get on the radio for many years and I kept getting rejected and I kept getting rejected. And then eventually I wrote I'll Let You Go, and I sent that in and I thought it's probably going to get rejected, but I'm going to send it anyway. And they ended up selecting it for their radio program, and then it ended up winning all these awards. So that was also like a really big moment in my career, and I feel like one of my best accomplishments.
Yes, those are huge accomplishments. And by the way, that I'll Let You Go is a beautiful song. I love listening to it.
Thank you so much.
So you've said that you've been impacted by the pandemic musically by not being able to travel and give your concerts. Is there anything else that's been a like a kind of a problem for you during the pandemic?
Um, I think yes, for sure. So for sure, the tours. I didn't tour last year, which was hard. Actually, it was a hard thing, but it was probably a good thing for me to take a little bit of a break because I do feel like I needed a break. But when I'm not touring, it's so difficult for me to connect with my fans on a personal level because, as we all know, digital is great, but it's not anything compared to when you're in person with someone and you get to feel their energy and see their smile and give them a hug. And when I get to sing for my fans live in person, magic happens. And so I didn't get to do that in 2020. So that was really hard. And now coming into 2021, I don't know if I'll be able to tour in 2021 either, which is it's hard for me. It's like a hard pill to swallow because I I want to see my fans. I want to perform my life's work. But again, I'm trying to take it as a sign for me to slow down, um, and take a breather and take this time to maybe try to write. So I am writing a lot. I have a few goals this year. One of my goals is to write 40 songs this year and
Wow.
possibly start crafting an album. So, but another challenge with that is COVID, because there's so many restrictions. It's really hard to be able to get out there and experience life and have the inspirations to write songs because just like everyone else, I'm kind of trapped in my home. And so at times it can feel like a little bit of like a prison. And I don't feel that inspired sometimes. I'm like, I don't know how I will write new songs, new material when I'm just kind of sitting here. I'm not able to travel and experience the world. But at the same token, um, just like everything else, I try to look at the other side of it and I think, okay, well, there's a reason why we're all home. We have to stay safe. And maybe this next album will be kind of centered around being home and being with the people closest to me that I love and taking care of a home and finally being uh, having a place to ground and root because I've never had that before. I've always been traveling, a traveling artist, going here, going there. And now I'm married and now we have a puppy and starting to build a family. So kind of it is flowing into this time of my life where things are starting to settle a little bit. And so I want to try to take that as inspiration and not feel like it's jail, but feel like it's this is what I'm supposed to be writing about now. So I'm kind of just thinking about that every day and working through it. And some days it's hard and some days it's easy. But those would be the challenges that have come up during COVID for me.
Wow. That's a lot of hard stuff to go through during COVID. It seems like you've been handling it pretty well though. By the way, what's your puppy's name?
My puppy's name is Walter, and maybe by at the end of the broadcast, I'll bring him on to show you.
Yes, that would be very cool.
Okay, we'll do that at the end.
Okay, so you're very open about yourself and issues you have faced in your life. And that's a very brave move. Why do you feel it's important to be open about talking about your personal issues?
So I'm going to share a few of those personal issues because maybe some of the people watching won't know. Okay, so a few things. In 2016, I went through some pretty bad depression and anxiety. And I ended up doing this 10-day silent meditation course in South Africa to try and understand my mind a little bit. And for those who don't know what a 10-day silent meditation is, you go to this retreat center and you're given your own room and maybe there's 20 or 30 people, and the women are segregated from the men, and for 10 days you don't speak, you don't say a word to anybody. But not only that, you also meditate for 11 hours a day. So you sit there, and now it's not 11 hours like from 1 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock. It's 2 hours here, then a 1 hour break, and then 3 hours, and then a 1 hour break, and then two. So you're having breaks. However, the entire time you sit in a cross-legged position, and you're just breathing, and you're focusing on your body and your mind and your energy. So I was doing that while I was going through depression and anxiety, trying to figure out what was happening to my brain, because I felt like my emotions were taking control of my body. And I would say the retreat helped, but it definitely didn't solve my problem at all. And it did actually make it worse for a few months before it got better. So anxiety and depression were one thing. Then a couple years after that, in 2018, I started becoming really sick and started losing weight, and just my stomach always felt terrible. And I did some testing, and I found out that I had a few parasites, which is very common actually in a lot of people, and celiac. So that is a gluten sensitivity. And because I didn't know that I had celiac, I was eating all this bread and beer, drinking beer on the tour, and I was eating all this food on tour that wasn't very healthy, because when you're on the road, it's hard to be healthy. And then on top of that, so my gut was starting to get inflamed, and my stomach was getting inflamed. And then on top of that, I had parasites, which for most people, it doesn't harm them. But because my gut was so inflamed, the parasites were making it a lot worse. So I ended up having all those problems, and I thought it would be a good idea to share them, because I'm not the only one going through this. And I knew that. And I thought if I could put this out there to try to help anyone, then I have to do that, because that's my job. I feel like as a musician and an influencer, we have to be open with what's happening, because things are not perfect in our lives all the time, for sure. It's far from perfect. And that's important to remind everybody. We don't need to be perfect. We don't need to have perfect lives. We can get through these things, and we're strong. So those are the issues that I've spoken about. I think I've also spoken about rosacea. I have rosacea on my face as well. I haven't mentioned too much about that, and then acne. I've suffered from acne for many years. So yeah, all of those things I've talked about on my blog and on social media. And the reason why I share them, just like I said, it's just to spread awareness and show the world that I don't have a perfect life, and that's okay. And I'm getting through it. And sometimes I need support from my fans as well. And that's why I choose to share those things.
Yes, that's a beautiful message that you're sharing with everyone. And even though you went through and you're going through these hardships, it's great that you're telling other people that you're not perfect and they shouldn't have to be perfect either.
Exactly. And that nobody's alone in this. There's so many battles that we're all fighting silently. And I don't think that we should be fighting them silently. I think it feels liberating to be able to share and be honest and open and authentic about what's happening. Because once you do that, your heart opens, and those people can then feel okay to share what's going on in their lives and get support from people around them. So it's kind of, to me, it's like a domino effect. And I think really important for society to be encouraging that.
Yeah. So if you could go back to middle school and you could give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
My one, I've thought about this. And the first thing that came to mind, and I'm going to say it because I like being open and honest. The one thing I would tell myself if I was back in middle school is to not worry about the boys so much because I always was thinking about the boys and liking boys and, being worried about he's not texting me or calling me or blah, blah, blah. And when you get older, you realize there's so many more important things, and the right person will come for you when the time is right. So I think I just spent way too much time worrying about the opposite sex when I should have just been enjoying school and learning and my girlfriends and talking to my teachers and my family and that kind of thing. So it's probably silly for you guys to hear that, but it's true. That's the first thing that came to my mind. So I thought I'd share that.
Thank you for sharing that. Well, we're almost done. So is there anything today?
Um, I guess I'd like to share what's going to be happening this year in 2021. My plan is I do want to try to release a new album, and I thought I'd share a little bit of the news that's coming. So my husband and I, we ended up eloping in Utah, and we captured everything on film. We were all dressed up. We had a ceremony up on the mountaintops of Lake Powell, and it was so beautiful. And what he didn't know at the time was I wrote a song for him, and I got it all professionally produced, and I ended up singing it to him the very moment that we saw each other for the first time, right before we were going to get married. So we got all dressed up separately, and then we met up at this point in the mountains, and he had his back turned, and we played the song, and we caught this all on film. And I'm singing the song to him, like lip syncing it to the song. And then he turns around and he sees me as his bride for the first time. And I'm working with a videographer. We're going to make a music video for that song, and we're going to be releasing it this year. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to. And then to go along with that release, I do want to try to release a full-length album about this experience and this new chapter of my life. So I wanted to share that with all the viewers and kind of let them know what I'm working on and what to expect this year. And then I guess some final words of wisdom would be COVID has been really hard for all of us, and I can't imagine how difficult it is for people in school to be e-learning and learning online. It's got to be so hard, not just for you guys, but your families and your parents and teachers. I couldn't imagine. And so I just want to say to everybody out there who's trying to do e-learning, keep on pushing on, really try your hardest. Know that it's not going to last forever. We're not going to have COVID forever. We are going to figure out solutions to be able to go back to school and have a little bit more normalcy. But I just want to give everybody a pat on the back for really trying to pull through and make learning still happen during a time of crisis. I'm really proud of all the young people out there who are trying their best to just learn and try to have normal days.
Yes.
Should I go get Walter before we end the interview?
If you'd like to, yes.
I'm gonna go get Walter. 1 second. Let me go get him. Okay, this is Walter. This is my buddy Walter. Walter is a Buer Terrier. He just woke up from a nap, so he's really tired. But a Buer Terrier is a breed from Germany, and it's a cousin breed from the Yorkshire Terrier, so a little Yorkie. And he's really small. He's 7 pounds, and he's going to get a maximum of 9 pounds, and he's very, very tired right now. He's a handful. He's 4 months old, and we just love him so much. We love him to bits. Say hi, Walter.
Cute.
Say hi.
For sharing that with us. That's so cute.
Oh, I'm so glad. I love showing him my little guy off to the world. He's just too cute. Everyone falls in love with him.
Yes. Okay, bye. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Olive. It was so great to be interviewed. Very well done on the interviewing. You did an excellent job, and so
Thank
nice to
you.
be able to connect with you. Say hi to your parents for me as well. And we'll chat to you soon.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks again.